Hey there, vinyl community, Michael here. I want to use this opportunity to tell a story because I had a very brief trip to Los Angeles this past weekend. I was really only in the city for 36 hours, but on Easter morning, I wanted to meet up with some of my record collector friends there. And I met up with Rob the Waxed, I met up with Jim from Record Collector News, met up with my friend Michael, who's also a record collector out there. And we decided we were going to hit up a couple record stores and go get some lunch, just have a nice, fun Sunday morning on Easter Sunday. And I'll show some of the records I picked up at Record Safari, which I think is one of the better stores in Los Angeles. And I know the manager at Record Safari had recently gotten back from a pretty substantial record shopping trip from Japan, so there was a lot of cool Japanese music in the new arrivals. Well, right when I met up with Rob, though, he handed me this Byron Janis Mercury, which I still need to reimburse him for, but that was kind of cool. But I found a lot of good stuff at Record Safari, and I just wanted to show a few of those. I mean, probably the biggest find I had of that trip was a very reasonably priced Alpha first pressing of Ryuichi Sakamoto's Left-Handed Dream. This is on the original Japanese Alpha label. I think this is probably his best solo album, one of his best solo albums for sure. And, you know, a lot of people now, the city pop is the records that when foreigners go over to Japan, that's the stuff they're hunting. And so there wasn't a lot of recognizable city pop in the bins. There was a lot of city pop, and it was all of kind of like the C-tier artists in that genre, stuff that isn't super collectible. So I didn't find much city pop. I mean, I did find a couple records. I got one of the earlier albums from Yumi Yuming. I don't know the actual title of this album offhand. I have a few other records from this artist, and this was inexpensive, so I picked this up. And then we also have the first debut album from the kind of funk soul band Hi-Fi Set, and I have a lot of their stuff, but I didn't have this debut album by them. That was pretty cool. But then the other Japanese stuff I found at that store, especially in the new arrivals, was kind of more esoteric rock and things like that. Like I found these two 70s rock records that I just looked up by I thought the covers looked cool. It looked interesting, and I looked up the music, and it was pretty cool. We have this album by the 70s folk rock band Signal. It was very affordable, and it was just one of those impulse buys where it just looked interesting. So I figured I'd pick it up. And then also this band that I wasn't familiar with called the Redbirds. They have this album Party, and it had the OB and everything. Very interesting looking cover. And I listened to the music a bit on Discogs, and I liked it, and decided it would come home with me. And then this was on the wall. This is, I gotta make sure I pronounce this person's name right, Tsunematsu Masatoshi. This is a solo EP by this guy who's well known as kind of like a post-punk musician in a couple famous Japanese post-punk bands, but this is his solo EP, just self-titled, I believe, Tsunematsu Masatoshi. This was really cool. This was one of those things where I saw the cover, it looked interesting, I went and looked up the artist, I listened to the music, and I went, oh, I have to get this. This will sound so cool, so interesting, very eerie 80s post-punk. And then finally, the last Japanese record I found at this store visit was one that was actually on my Discogs want list. It's the final missing album I have from the discography of the 80s new wave band Bowie. And this is their debut album Morale plus 3. It's their debut album Morale plus 3 extra songs. It was reissued a couple years later with 3 extra songs on the album. But this is from the new wave band Bowie, who were kind of one of the bands responsible in the 80s for kicking off the interest in guitar-based rock and roll in pop music in the 80s, because in the 80s we were getting the city pop was really big. That was kind of all these jazzy, funky arrangements, and Bowie were much more of a power pop new wave band in the spirit of like Blondie, things like that. So they were really responsible for the reemergence of rock and roll in that decade. And then I also found a couple classical albums, nothing crazy, but I did notice they had this Thomas Murray organ record in the classical bins on the Sheffield Town Hall label, which is the precursor to Sheffield Labs. It's very cheap, but Not a direct-to-disc record, but this is mastered at the mastering lab. It has TML and the dead wax. So my best bet is that this sounds pretty good. And of course, he's playing Mendelssohn organ sonatas here. Thomas Murray at the organ. I bet this is going to sound great. And I also found another record in this series that I've been seeing a lot in the bins recently, and I haven't noticed it before. This Denon Master Sonic label, which I have a couple city pop releases on the Master Sonic label, but I didn't have any classical up until the last week or so. But this is a flute duo record featuring Jean-Pierre Rampal and Maxence Leroux playing Bach, both J.S. Bach and C.P.E. Bach, and Telemann sonatas for two flute. And I believe this was recorded in Japan. Yeah, this was recorded at Nippon Columbia Studios in Tokyo in 1973. So very early PCM recording, one of the earliest digital recordings from that era. After we were done at Record Safari, we went over to Atomic Records in Burbank, which is another record store I used to hit up frequently, especially with Rob and Jim in the short time that I lived in Los Angeles. And I didn't find much at Atomic, and I'm going to show footage from both Atomic and Record Safari in this video, but I did find one classical record in the bins at Atomic, and this one was kind of interesting because it was another one of these Denon Master Sonic records, and this is Invitation to Denon PCM Digital Recording with the B&K microphone. This is a sampler record, and I thought this was really interesting because not only does it have a test record on it, it has a channel check test sound, it has a phase check test sound, dynamic range check, but it also has a sampler of some of their other PCM recordings. It has Beethoven's Symphony No. 7, the Haydn Cello Concerto, Bach Concerto for Oboe and Violin, movement of Bruckner 4, and Mozart Symphony No. 41 are some of the various things on here. Some German recordings on here and some Japanese recordings on here. I just thought this was really interesting. Again, this is on that Denon Master Sonic PCM. I guess this is when they were really marketing the PCM. You can see the PCM in the center label there. And you know, I'm not the world's biggest digital fan, especially from the vinyl era, but my experience has been these Denon PCM digital recordings could sound really good because they put a lot of time and effort into them. So as I was mentioning before, this was kind of like the plan was to go to these two record stores and then go get some lunch with some of my audio record collector friends that lived in the city. And when we were at Atomic, my friend Michael, other Michael, was there and came up to me and said, "Hey, I have this friend who's an art dealer, and he is a big audiophile and has some really interesting systems at his house, and he's invited us over. If we want to do this before we go to lunch, we can head over there and listen to some of his systems and talk to him." And you know what? I said, yeah, this is what being in Los Angeles is all about, is all the interesting people, especially in the world of audio. So I said, yeah, let's go. So I think Jim had to go dog sit. He couldn't join us, but me and Rob and Michael, we went over to the house of this art dealer who, his name was Stefan Simchowitz. And I don't exist in the art world. I'm not a huge, especially modern art connoisseur. But apparently this person is a pretty well-known, relatively famous art dealer in the American scene. He sells a lot of art from Africa and Central Asia, and a lot of American artists as well. And I didn't know any of this. I was learning this as I met him. So we went over to his house in Pasadena, and I just want to show the footage because I didn't realize this when we were going over there, but once I got there, I realized, and after talking to Stefan, that he really used his house as a gallery showing space. He has multiple buildings in and around his house, and he uses them to have semi-private or sometimes like ticketed art showings, where he'll have rooms with that feature different artists, different artistic themes, and each of those rooms have a hi-fi system there. He's very passionate about integrating hi-fi into the settings of art galleries, art showrooms, and because of that, he's also become over the years an audio distributor. So he actually distributes some brands in North America, and he actually has his own brand too that we listen to at the very end of our tour, which is the Simco line of speakers. This is his Simco 1 horn speaker, which I got to sit down and listen to a little bit. So I'm gonna I recorded all this footage on my phone. I'm going to kind of take us through this journey of going through the different systems in his home and around the various art buildings he has on his property there. He was a very gracious host, super nice guy, and it was very nice of him to open up his home to us so that we could film and kind of share this interesting journey through hi-fi and all these interesting artworks with you all on the channel. So thank you to Stefan, and I hope you enjoy the tour. Look at these beautiful 301s here. These Gerard, fully restored with the carbon fiber.
You too. You've got this, right? I don't need to show this.
Yes, I do.
Put this back.
So I am out here in LA with a new friend I met, Stefan, who's got these wonderful vintage Gerard 301s and a really interesting system here with some DeVore speakers. And maybe you want to tell us about it, because I don't recognize the amplifiers there.
Oh, that's an EAR V12. Tim Parravicini designed. Very beautiful. And that's a Lampezzetta Poseidon DAC. It's a preamp DAC, very good.
That's
and then this I love. This is an FM radio, MD109, Dyna.
Really?
And I listen to FM radio all the time. Classical is on, like, from the minute I wake up. And I believe in, people make fun of me, but I believe in having a good radio.
Are these the O reference?
These are the 20s. So these are the upgraded 096s.
Yeah, because I recognize the brass. Is that brass on the
brass, yeah. And these are number 11, which is my lucky number. So really beautiful.
Beautiful.
Speaker. And then this is I love the antenna for the radio. I think it's just so, so cute.
It can be tough to find a good spot for those.
Yeah. And then we have the streaming digital section over here, and then we have great art just to get the art.
Of course. Wow.
That's not Maschielia, is it?
No, that's Things Fall Apart, Chinua Achebe, done by an African artist named Serge Atukwe Clotti, and it's made out of cork and duct tape, and it's pretty cool.
I did go to art school.
You did?
I went to Virginia Commonwealth University. Amazing. But I studied graphic design.
Of course, here with Rob and Michael. Rob is digging through mono jazz records.
Yes.
And then so I separate out my mono records. So I've got mono jazz, mono American. I listen to a lot of mono, and one of my favorite things to do is Rob Wyatt is the distributor, and I carry this Miyajima, and it's the Infinity Mono. It's 14.3 grams. You know, African ebony wood. I'll play it for you later. It sounds extraordinary.
Is that the one? I know Miyajima, they make some stuff that has the cactus.
The cactus cantilever. Yeah. I'll play it for you.
Fantastic.
I have it in the other room.
And this is your phono stage.
That's the Soul Note E2 phono stage, 4 inputs. It's really incredible, really modular, easy.
And the step up, the audio note.
The audio note step up that I'm using for this. And I'm using a head amp made by Jim Hageman for the for this garage. So I refurbish garages with different suppliers. So this is Matthew Porter of Audio Grail, who makes a great plinth, does a great refurb. This is Chris Harbin's garage with an oversized platter. This plinth comes from Das Acoustic in Hungary. They unfortunately stopped making them. And this is made by Matthew Porter at Audio Grail. This is, of course, your copper weight that's from Rob Wyatt, which is amazing. I'm a Groove Master dealer, a Serene dealer. Groove Master is audio creative. And then there's, I do a lot of vintage cartridges like this Kiseki Gold Spot.
Oh, wow.
I'm using a used moving coil cartridge there that's really sounds great. A lot of Miyajima.
Do you like to tinker with everything?
Yeah. We switch cartridges. Everything's removable head shells. Yeah. This is a mono step up for the Infinity that I haven't used yet. I just got this last week, and I was using the stereo Miyajima cartridge before the carbon, which is the the sort of less expensive version of this, and then I stepped up to this, and this is honestly like a revelation. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, I've heard their cartridges at shows before, but I've never like spent a lot of time listening to them. But
and there's an integration of art and design, and like the idea is you have music everywhere, so it's accessible. It's not a room that's private where you go. It's music constantly. And I'll even take you up to the bedroom, because I think it's music. Serious, all of it.
this is all made with all computer keys, right?
All computer keys. So he's an artist from Zimbabwe who, basically in Africa, we Americans send our junk to Africa, and he collects the keys in garbage dumps and then collages them together into these amazing fabric sculptures. And
That's killer.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Keep video. This is Ken Taylor, who's an artist from Chino.
That's awesome.
We have to mix art and music, you know?
Of course,
You gotta,
they go hand in hand.
this is Ken Taylor, who's an artist who lives in Chino. Amazing. I love his work. And then this is what I really love is in the bedroom. You know, you have a system as well. So
Oh, the Lieben, I love those.
yeah, but this idea of just being able to listen to vinyl everywhere, not just having it in a room. So that's a little Thorence TD 124 Mark II with a phono stage made by Jim Hageman in Hawaii, who's an amazing maker.
Those are nice.
Oh, and the 20X2.
Yeah.
I've had that cart for a long time.
What?
And you got your Falcons, and it sounds
Yeah.
pretty beautiful. It sounds kind of amazing.
It's a powerful sound just from those speakers.
Yeah.
Just the speakers, there's no...
Where's that
I've got a
sub?
little sub from
Oh,
Rel.
sub.
I've got a little Rel sub in there, which is
I have that one. That's
Yeah.
great. That's like, is that the T7X, T9X?
T7.
Yeah, I have that's what I use in my system.
It's great. I love it.
I don't like
Pretty crazy, right?
That's a very full sound. There's no way that's not going to get copyright strikes, so I'll have to put something over it. But
But that, I'm always amazed with speakers like that fill the room.
yeah,
You know, we're not... The sound doesn't feel like it's coming from that speaker.
no, it's very much projects the image in front of you.
Yes.
And
And
yeah,
this-
so I love Rels. I use Rels a lot.
Oh, the Shindo. I've never seen Shindo stuff in the flesh. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
There's a lot more where that came from.
Yeah.
There's a contingent of idiots who go, oh, but you have your TV in between your speakers. But, you know, whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, it's for me. I use it. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
I listen.
This Hagerman is of
That's
interest.
awesome. I love that sound.
Stefan
You
loves this
can't
thing,
tell
and
that it's
I'm
coming from the speakers.
looking into it.
Yeah, Jim Hageman is
Very interesting one.
Is a maker in Hawaii, sells direct, $1,200.
How do you go to shows and stuff, or you just never?
Never.
No.
Work with a lot of art. Sergio Tukwe Klati. This is cool. So this is Gar Boxer
On cork or what now?
It's on cork
Cork.
and duct tape. So it's pencil,
Yeah.
paint, and then he uses duct tape and cork. And they're amazing. This is DJ Stilo, who's one of the most famous DJs in Ghana.
Yeah.
This is an artist I work with, Shana McCoy from Minneapolis. She's amazing. And this is,
That's great.
thank you. This is Elizabeth Ibarra. I'll show you my son's room, which is kind of cool. It's kind of a fun house.
It is very nice.
Come
Sorry.
in.
Sorry.
Every 6 weeks we do a new show. We just hung last week. We have an opening on a Saturday. There'll be about 300 to 400 people here. This is an artist named Gene Aton, who's an Australian artist, and he works with tufted materials and pigments and paints, and I think it's a wonderful show. And each show we do, we kind of pair with the system
Yeah.
and kind of present a sort of an aesthetically and sonically coherent presentation that kind of goes with the music. And what I did in this system today is some Thoress monoblocks, 845s, made by Reynard Thoress. with the phono preamp from Reynard that has 3 phono inputs, really beautiful. And
Are those 845 tubes?
yeah,
I've heard about those. I've never seen. I don't think I've ever listened to them in person.
yeah, it's a beautiful piece of equipment.
Is
And
this what, is that what's on right now?
Jerry Mulligan,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, we'll play Jerry Mulligan. We have a table by Jean Nantais, which is between his thin tables and his thick ones. This is 5.5 inches. He makes it's about 85 pounds. He makes a 7-inch plinth. That's 100 pounds. I like the narrowness of this. Jean Nantais is an amazing guy. Lives in Ottawa in the woods and outside of Ottawa.
And that's where I'm moving. In
Oh,
2
you-
months to
you-
a new
you-
place.
I'll
I can't
introduce you
wait.
to him.
I can't wait.
He's amazing.
Fabulous.
Where are you moving?
And this is a Lampezzetta DAC. I'm a big fan of the Lampezzetta sound. I think he's a great maker. And what's interesting about Jean Nantais is he's one of the few guys who actually cuts his own veneers.
Really?
So he cuts veneers himself. They're not paper veneers. And this is a Garage 401 that he refurbished. We've got a Serene 9-inch tone arm, and we've got a Schick 12-inch. We have, of course, the cartridge which comes from Rob Wyatt, who's the Miyajima dealer, and this is your Cactus cantilever
Oh, yeah.
called the Subotan L that Miyajima is actually going to make for Simcoe One, which is my brand. So we'll play. We'll play a little bit of Jerry Mulligan. Jean Nantais. And what's cute about Jean Nantais, on the back of his plinth, he puts a little dolphin. And then of course, all the red cables are my cable line. I started a cable line called North Hill Crimson, and all the red cables are manufactured by my company.
Is that the blue sound? I love that.
Yeah, and what's great is I made a power cable for the Blue Sound node, an NAC cable, and it really improves the Blue Sound node.
Well, I'm gonna need to get some long XLRs for the new listening room at some point, so I'll definitely hit you up.
Yeah, they're great. And then so we'll play you a little bit of Jerry Mulligan.
Fantastic.
An African art showing here, and this is Kundai Nathan. Kundai's from Zimbabwe, and Takunda Belay's from Zimbabwe, and then we have a couple of used speakers here. We got a pair of 096s,
Oh,
Black
wow.
Finish used, a pair of O Babies used, a pair of Harbeth. So I deal a bit of used equipment, putting systems together for people. You know, I don't sell many single units. I usually sort of curate something that's aesthetically coherent and sonically good, and put it together.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Are these the old babies?
Those are 096s. Make finish, those are the O Babies. Unfortunately, John can't make them anymore because the Chinese can't make an 8-ohm tweeter for him, so he's had to stop production because it's a great speaker. O Baby's a beautiful speaker.
Those guys.
Yeah, great speaker.
Are those for sale?
Aren't necessarily audiophiles used to the idea of having music everywhere. This acts as an office and an exhibition space, an extension of the show you just saw in the big room, Gene Ahern, and a very simple system here.
This thing blasts though. I remember you
Blasts.
explained that for me.
And this is the Heaven 11 Billy Mark II, which is made by a Canadian company, direct to consumer. Amazing product, $2,000.
I've seen this before, yeah.
The music ending.
Yeah, and these are just with some Graham Audio LS
5.9, right?
5.9s, sound amazing.
This blew me away the last time.
Yeah,
I've been still thinking about it.
just so you can have a simple system without and just getting,
Yeah.
because people get scared if you start with too many components.
Which is what I have now. I bought another fucking thing, and it's like, geez. I bought a shit Freya and two rolling all day, and it's like, God, where is the sound? Really something, huh, Michael?
Just gorgeous. The presentation.
I'll probably have a green egg. I love the green eggs.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah, it's ready, man.
And then this is the little music room here where we actually present. I'm a dealer for Boniki. This is an artist named Tyler Makow, Andrei Samarin, who's a Ukrainian artist, and then
Wizard of Oz, or no? Am I wrong?
it's the Tin Man.
Tin Man, yeah.
Yeah. And
Wait
it's
till
cool.
you hear these
And then
speakers.
these are Boney keys, W11s, W5s, W8s. He's a Swiss maker, amazing.
Those?
So I carry his brand, and I also carry Horror Audio, which is these wood speakers which are made in Japan. Very beautiful, elegant thing. And then we have a Unico, which is an Italian company. I carry them. Phonostage. Then we have a Nottingham Space Deck, which is an amazing thing because you just spin it to start it.
My future is destined from life.
Oh, the big pass labs down
We
there.
have Pass Labs, Audio Notes,
Is that one of their Class A's or their Class ABs?
class. That's a 250 watt. That's just
Oh, I was looking at that when I was power amp shopping last year.
Each year, mine.
and we've got an Audio Note Silver Signature.
What happens tomorrow goes away, you know. I mean, I
What do you think of the first watts? They seem very popular now.
Superb, collectible, great.
I don't like worrying about the future.
Oh, and the audio note.
We're supposed to be in this moment. Worrying about the past or the future doesn't happen.
What's that rel that's back there? That's one of their S line, right?
This is the Rel Carbon. I'm a Rel dealer as well.
Oh, cool.
This is the Rel Carbon. It's an amazing sub. I love it. I have Rels in most systems. I think they're just a reliable, great company. And
Yeah, I like their sound a lot.
Yeah. We also manufacture our own furniture. So we make our own speaker cables, which is North Hill Crimson, our own furniture, which is called Simco Furniture, and then the Simco One speaker that you'll see. This is just a two-platform thing. Trying to basically design different looking products. I'm a Soul Note dealer. That's the fancy integrated $25,000 Soul Note. That's another Lampezzetta DAC, the Baltic. This is some Nagra stuff I have. Beautiful 20 watt push pull, and of course ATCs speakers.
And this art is all
This is Gene Ahern, same artist.
same artist.
So we do big solo shows. So Gene's coming from Australia, and then he has multiple structures, and have a pretty big body of work exhibited.
How many people do you bring in when you do a show?
I mean, there's usually between 200 and 400 people at an opening, and then the artist flies in.
Yeah.
And then
This Saturday?
this Saturday you should come. It's
In
nice.
the space
think I
stands
might.
everyone nicely.
Easily.
Easily.
No problem.
Is this integrated?
This is integrated, yeah, amazing. This room acoustically is not great, but it's not.
Do you have any reach?
This is such a cool album. Michael, show the cover. Can I see the back of that? You know this one, Rob?
Not this particular album, but I have a lot of his Ninja stuff. But all his stuff is different. Like he's famous for Cape Jazz, which is sort of like a combination of post-bop and African. It's a kind of whimsy-ish. But he does free jazz, plays Duke Ellington. He converted. His name is like Abdul Ibrahim now. He's like 90 years old, and he's still playing.
Fantastic.
Yeah.